Welcome back to our Homework Help Workshop. Today we're going to talk about spelling and how to learn to write. Now there are different parts of writing. There are two main parts. You have the mechanics of writing and the message of writing. The mechanics are the punctuation, the grammar, the spelling, the structure. How are sentences put together? How is a paragraph put together? How do you structure an essay with paragraphs that are well written sentences? And you have the message. The message are the ideas, the stories, the main point, the details, and the purpose. We need both. One without the other is incomplete. A word about handwriting. The goal of handwriting is that it be legible, means it can be read. A message must be written clearly enough to be understood. Now each person develops their own style of handwriting. And some people write very well and they're easy to read, and other people their writing is really pretty poor. They need to practice. Writing requires more memory than about anything else you do in school. The student has to remember spelling, punctuation, letter formation, vocabulary, content information, transitions to the next idea, and a connection all at the same time. It's an extremely complex action. Should children be taught to write in cursive? This is debated. Some schools have discontinued writing in cursive, and I've had students that I've tried to work with and they couldn't read cursive, so I'm making notes for them and they can't read them. I've got to print everything. I personally think that learning to write in cursive has a lot of benefits. Learning for learning's sake. It's always important to learn something new. Every time you teach your brain a new skill, you build connections in your neurologic patterns, and that makes your brain stronger and it makes your brain healthier for a longer time. It's an art form that has a long, rich history. People study lots of different ways to make writing, and we've gotten to where we can do things with fonts on the computer, but to practice writing with different styles is an art form. Help with printing and alphabet memorization. When you learn to write cursive, it can help you with memorizing other things. It develops motor skills. It gives you continuous flow. You don't stop after each letter. It all flows together, which helps your ideas to flow onto the page. It improves reading. Individual letters become whole words. So after you get better and better at reading, you're not just seeing the letters, you're seeing the word. And when you write in cursive and the only space is between words, you get to where you can read faster and faster. And you certainly can write faster. Cursive writing is a good break for kids with dyslexia, because they begin to see the whole thing and not just the individual letters, which is confusing. It's traditional and it opens the door to historical documents. I said to this student that I was working with that didn't read cursive anymore, and he was in high school, and I said, from now on, you won't be able to read historical documents like the Declaration of Independence or the original Constitution because you don't read cursive and they're all written in cursive by hand. I said, you'll just have to rely on somebody to tell you what these documents say. And he goes, I never thought of that. It's a good thing he thought about it, because if you can read historical documents themselves and not just have them interpreted to you, then you can decide for yourself what you want to think. Most grandparents still write in cursive, and if you want to read a letter from your grandmother or your grandfather, you want to read it for yourself, you need to know how to write, and you need to know how to read cursive. It strengthens the neuron connections in the brain responsible for organizing other kinds of information and skills. If you want to be good at organizing, cursive writing is a good practice skill. So that's why I think cursive is a good idea. It's up to you. Even if your school does not teach it, parents can teach their kids. Another thing that comes up in handwriting and written papers, even when they're typed, is punctuation. Punctuation matters. Without punctuation, you don't know how to read something. Now on the screen, I have 2 letters. The words in the letters are identical. Only the punctuation has changed. Dear John, I want a man who knows what love is all about. You are generous, kind, thoughtful. People who are not like you admit to being useless and inferior. You have ruined me for other men. I yearn for you. I have no feelings whatsoever when we're apart. I can be forever happy. Will you let me be yours, Gloria? Now here's letter 2. Dear John, I want a man who knows what love is. All about you are generous, kind, thoughtful people who are not like you. Admit to being useless and inferior. You have ruined me. For other men I yearn. For you I have no feelings whatsoever. When we're apart, I can be forever happy. Will you let me be? Yours, Gloria. So you can see here that punctuation matters. Here's another one. Private. No visitors allowed. Now that has a specific meaning. The second one, punctuation only changed. Private. No visitors allowed. Okay, here's a couple of pictures. Let's see, this first one has a blade named Sting. The second one has blade named Sting. In the first one, the sword's name is Sting. In the second one, the man who has a blade is named Sting. Punctuation makes all the difference. One my mother used to say to us all the time is, "What are we having for dinner, Mother?" And that was funny. Instead of, "What are we having for dinner, Mother?" Now, spelling challenges. In English, there are some difficult ways to spell things. On the screen, you'll see a word, G-H-O-T-I. Now, if the GH has the same sound it does in the word tough, and the O has the same sound it does in the word women, and if the TI have the same sound as in the word nation, then GHOTI would spell fish. I've taught English as a second language, and one of the most difficult things for students to learn is these odd combinations of letters. And they ask, why do we have these weird combinations? And it's because English has come from so many different languages being melded together. And the rules change from culture to culture. And every time in England they would get education going and things seemed to be doing fine, somebody new would come in and conquer them and change their grammar rules. And so we have that to deal with now. But you keep working at it and spelling won't be too bad a chore. Here are some ideas for some ways you can practice spelling words that are not so painful as sitting and copying them 10 times each. One of them is, and we mentioned it in another episode, is having Scrabble squares and using those letters to spell words. One is to take a big cookie sheet or you can even do it on a table if you don't mind the mess. And you spread chocolate pudding out, or vanilla if you prefer, and let the child practice writing their spelling words in the pudding. And then maybe to clean up, you could put some shaving foam out, and they can practice writing in the shaving foam and then wipe the table clean. It's a good way to clean. Another way is to record the spelling words verbally. So turn on the recording on your cell phone, or if you still have a tape recorder, that works. And say the word and then have the child spell the word out loud together with you. So if the word is thin, say thin, T-H-I-N, thin. And you record all of the spelling words being spelled that way, and then they can listen to them over and over. They can listen to them while they're brushing their teeth. They can listen to them before they go to sleep. And that's good practice, and it's not sitting at the table writing for hours. Another way is to play hangman, or you can play hang the bunny if you like, and you can draw a portion of the frame and the person for each letter that is chosen by the opponent incorrectly. And when they pick the right letter, then they know what they're going to be spelling after a while, and then they don't miss anymore. So those are just a few other options, something to do besides copying your spelling words. Use your imagination. Ask your child. They will come up with some ideas. Say, we're going to learn these spelling words. How do you think we should do that? Maybe they will teach you. You be the teacher and show me how to teach. Show me how to do spelling. And let them have a chalkboard or write on the sidewalk. Lots of ideas. We'll see you next time. Bye.